from Sports Illustrated, MLB Network, and Fox, Tom Verducci. How are you, Tom?
Good. It's strange days indeed, right? A month from spring training, and there are 3 managerial openings.
I mean, it is wild. And the Beltran, I guess, resignation, does that surprise you at all, Tom?
Not really. It was probably in the cards once the report came out in which he was identified not just as part of the 17 Astros sign stealing scheme, but a major part of it, not just an active participant, but in some ways a mastermind of it. It was on his idea that actually their sign stealing with a runner on second base went full throttle with the trash can for basically every pitch. And, listen, I know the Mets hired him before it first became public that the Astros were going to be under investigation. But think about this. Carlos Beltran needed to explain what was in that report at some point as a New York Mets manager. And once you do that, I mean, you don't come out of that looking very good, right? Because you're on the record right now as being a cheater. And then you also lied about it because he did lie to the media when he was specifically asked about that while he was a candidate. And, I just don't know how you undo those two things. You've never managed before, and you're starting your term as the Mets manager with this huge issue that you cheated stealing signs, and then you lied about it to the media. I don't know if he lied about it to the Mets front office, but the fact is publicly he's on record as saying, oh, no, we didn't have a camera. We weren't doing anything like that. That's a tough way to begin your job, especially in New York as a major league manager.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that out of all the players that one gets mentioned from the commissioner's office, and it's Beltran, which to me was a bright, shining neon sign from the commissioner's office to the Wilpon family and to the Mets organization, do something, is what that read to me.
Yeah. Also, you have to remember he was identified in the Athletics reporting on the scandal as a player who was at least at the core of what was going on. We didn't know exactly the ramifications or at least the specifics of that, but he was named in previous reporting. So I think because of that he was mentioned, the fact that it was such a prominent role, that's why the commissioner laid it out there. By the way, that report, that 9-page report, I mean, I've been telling people that is extremely transparent. I don't think anybody reads that report and thinks, well, why did the commissioner do what he did? Or what really happened there? I mean, they laid it all out there in great detail.
Well, the two parts about that report that I'd love to talk with you about here. Number one, that Hinch was portrayed by the commissioner as being a reluctant, observer of all of this, and destroyed 2 pieces of equipment to express his displeasure with what was going on in his own organization that he could have stopped with just one wave of the hand. Why didn't that happen? Hinch, what happened with him, Tom?
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, first of all, I think you have to separate the fact that, the memo from the commissioner about essentially this is now illegal and subject to penalties, that memo went out in September of 17, right? The Astros started doing this, at least in the report, early in the 17 season. And actually, if there were teams doing this going back to 14 and 15, but that's another story. But anyway, that's the warning in September. So at that point, you are obligated at that point, knowing the team's facing harsh penalties, before you might think nobody's watching and other teams are doing it. But at that point, you have to shut it down. Why he didn't do it at that point? Well, first of all, the memo that went out there, Jeff Luhnow got and did not circulate it among the team, and did not walk downstairs to the manager and coaches and say, we better be in compliance of this. That alone is a fireable offense. And the report does say that if Luhnow had done either one of those things, we would not be here today. And that's not giving A.J. Hinch a pass by no means. He needed to really gather his team together and say, knock it off. And he didn't do that. Why? I think just clubhouse culture and what that's like to be down there. You have a core group of guys, a lot of veteran players. You have a coach in Alex Cora and a key player in Carlos Beltran who are at the center of this thing. You're upsetting your clubhouse culture. Now, that needed to be done. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you that as a manager, you're kind of caught between, let's face it, job one of being a big league manager today is what? Is having confidence in your players, getting your players to trust you and to connect with them. GMs use that term all the time about what they want in a manager. Well, now you got to go against that. Be an old school bad boy, Dallas Green type of manager and tell them knock it off. And he didn't do that. That's his fault. In no way am I excusing him, but you have to understand the environment down there in real time is a lot more complicated than it might seem.
Well, that's why I asked you to get that sort of perspective, and I want to put a pin in clubhouse culture for a second and get to the second aspect of the commissioner's 9-page report that leaves a question to me. It just said it was used in the 2017 postseason and did not at all detail that. And I want to know. I'm already seeing videos on Twitter right now of whistling that's happening during Kershaw getting lit up in Game 4 of a series, that there was no whistling while they were having trouble trying to figure him out. They were up 4-0. I mean, I'm seeing this stuff, and I just, as a fan, it makes me so irate, Tom, and I don't even have a care about the Dodgers. So I'm asking you, what did happen in that postseason? To what effect was all this used?
Well, it's a great question. We'll never know the answer to that, but the fact that that question exists puts everything under suspicion, right? You can pick out a pitch that Kershaw threw when he had a 4-0 lead and gave up 6 runs and was on the verge of putting them 1 win away from winning the World Series, and he'd be a postseason hero, and his whole narrative would be different. Was it one pitch? Was it many pitches? Was it no pitches? We don't know, but the fact that the commissioner outlined it, as you said, very specifically throughout the 2017 postseason, the Astros were cheating, it puts it all under the category of suspicion. Now, I don't think that the trash can system was used in the 2017 postseason. I think that would be too difficult simply because in the postseason, it's the only games going on, right? There's so much more scrutiny at that point. I don't think you can get away with it like you can for a midweek series in July or August. But there clearly was something going on. They were misusing technology to decode signs. To what extent, we don't know. But again, it puts their entire championship, to me, under scrutiny and questioning. And the fan has every right to say that it's tainted because the commissioner essentially did the same thing.
Tom Verducci here on the Rich Eisen Show, MLB Network, Fox, Sports Illustrated, amidst all of this craziness. Let's get to the clubhouse culture. We're already hearing from Jessica Mendoza, who I respect immensely. I truly enjoy her work on ESPN, talking about how Mike Fiers broke an Omerta code, essentially, is what I'm paraphrasing. She said that today. Fiers is beginning to getting some heat for talking to The Athletic. Is he in some sort of code violation that can affect his playing career and his ability to be a teammate, Tom, do you think?
No, I don't think so. Listen, if he's in trouble because he's a truth teller, there's something wrong with this world. You know, his only agenda, and I truly believe this, is he wants a clean game. I don't know how you hold that against anybody. You know, it reminds me of when I wrote the story about steroids in baseball and talked to Ken Caminiti in 2002. And on the record, he was the first guy to basically say the emperor had no clothes. This has been going on, and I have nothing to hide. And there were people who called him a snitch. But you know what? The game is better off for knowing that instead of living with a very dirty game that was all kept under the covers. I have no problem with what Mike Fiers did. Listen, the guy pitched more innings than anybody on the 2017 Astros. He was left off the postseason roster. Maybe he had some hard feelings. I don't know. But I do know that as a member of the Tigers and then the A's the next couple of years, he told his teammates, be careful in Houston, man. These guys can pick up signs in legal and illegal ways like nobody else. And he wanted to stop it. I have no problem with a guy who, if his agenda is to clean up the game, I'm all for that. We have a better game when we let the players decide the outcome of the games and not technology.
Well, and then that leads me again to how the current Astros are going to be viewed by players around the league. CC Sabathia has been very vocal. He's pissed. He thinks he had a title stolen from him. How will the Astros who said let's bang the can and anybody in any locker room knows, certainly when you're in a championship team, you look around when you're maybe spraying champagne on your teammates. You all know, every championship team knows. Any player in college knows that the championship team you're looking at in the locker room is going to change. People are going to disperse and wind up in different spots. Did they not care that people around the league know that they're cheaters based on other players talking? I mean, how will the Astros be viewed in all of this, do you think?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because when you think about CC Sabathia or David Freese or Trevor Plouffe or Phil Hughes or some of these other players who come out and said some things about the Astros, I'm not talking about Hinch or Crane or Luna. the Astros players, what's the common denominator? They're all out of the game. You tell me, where is the noise from current players complaining about what the Astros were proven to do in the 2017 and 18 seasons? There is radio silence. And you know the answer to why that's the case, Rich.
Because
it was a very common thing
right.
in 2017. That's why. I mean, I'm still waiting for somebody to complain that, hey, an active player to say the Astros did something that nobody else was doing. You're not going to hear that. And no way am I excusing what the Astros did, because they continued to do it after they were warned in September of 17 and March of 18. But the fact is, in 15, 16, and before September 15th of 17, this was common in baseball. This was the result of putting a challenge-based replay system in place where live feeds with a camera focused on home plate was put within walking distance of the dugout. That was Pandora's box. It opened up, and then the commissioner tried to shut it.
So is it shut now?
It is to that degree. I mean, it's sort of, again, the steroid parallel is just too easy not to go to, because, I couldn't tell you today that nobody uses PEDs, but I can tell you it's a lot harder. It's the same case with misusing technology. We now have cameras that are not dedicated on home plate. A team cannot put any cameras between the foul poles other than the network cameras. And the monitors now in the clubhouse and on the replay are on 8-second delays, so you can't get real-time video to steal signs from. So it's a lot harder. That actually began in terms of monitoring the televisions in the 18 postseason. I don't think the Red Sox were able to do in the 18 postseason what the Astros did in the 17 postseason. Are there workarounds? Athletes, when there's money at stake and competition is at stake and we keep score and you're looking for an edge, you'll find ways. But you can't do it the way you did it in 17 for sure.
Well, the Alex Cora comments that started making, a reemergence yesterday, last couple days from the London series in last June, where the Yankees lit up the Red Sox, and in response to about his pitching staff, he mentions Beltran's name and winks at somebody and says that Beltran, he knows how he works, and talking about details, and the Yankees are better at details this year than before. I mean, all of that makes it seem like he thought that there was something up even last year. So that might give you an answer to the question of whether this is put away, whether it's appropriate to say that or not. People think there's still a way to do this, clearly, right?
Well, listen, there's different ways of doing that. For instance, a team can have cameras trained on pitchers from every angle of the ballpark to see if they're giving away their pitches with the way they take the ball out of their glove, with the way they fan their glove or not. That kind of sleuthing goes on. That's, I guess, legal. It's not unethical. There's always going to be ways, and Beltran, besides what he did against the rules, was always thought of as a guy who was very good at seeing what pitchers are doing where they might be giving away their pitches. That's part of the game. We understand that. But this is why, Rich, I'm a big fan of playing, I call it American Legion baseball. Turn off all the technology once the game starts. That's the answer to this, right? You don't need, as a hitter, to go back after you're at bat and go look at every pitch. Because when you do that, you can see from a center field shot, for instance, what signs are being used, right? Even if your purpose was to go back there and look at something mechanically in your swing, you can still look at video in the course of a game that's being played at that time. It's not in real time, but you can use it and gain knowledge going forward, like what the signs are with the runner on second base. The next time you're on second base, you know that. Why is that allowed? Why are people leaving the dugout to go back and use technology to play the game of baseball? I always say this. It's like the SATs. You can study all you want. You can hire a tutor. You can look up everything online. But when you go in there to take the test, essentially to play the game, you don't bring the laptop in. You don't bring your tutor in. It's you against me and what you know. And that's what baseball should be. So I'm a big fan of saying, you want a replay monitor? Fine. Put it upstairs in the press box. Have one there where both teams can have someone monitor that, whether they want to challenge or not. But after that, the video room is locked. Everything's off. First pitch, go play the game like you're back in American Legion.
I love that. Great point. Although the cynic in me, being a Los Angeles resident, says you can cheat on the SAT too, Tom. We're hearing all about that.
I got to come up with a better analogy.
Yeah, certainly. If you're talking to people who live in Los Angeles and everything that's been going around here last year. So last one for you. Are we out of shoes to drop? Is that it? Beltran out. Is that the last shoe to drop? Or are we going to learn who the Houston Astros players are eventually? How does this continue to potentially ripple in your mind?
Well, we still have to find out the results of the investigation into the Red Sox in 18, right? I think that won't take as long. It won't take the 3 months the Houston one did. I'm thinking about a month, so right around the start of spring training. You're going to have a severe penalty for Alex Cora. I'm not sure if he's ever going to manage again. You're probably going to get another huge fine to the club. By the way, the fine for the club, like the Astros got fined $5 million, that's the maximum allowed under Major League Baseball's constitution. That has to change. You know, Robinson Cano can use PEDs and get suspended and lose $12 million, but an entire franchise can't be fined more than $5 million. That needs to be updated. Mm-hmm. So the Red Sox will get fined. We'll see if any of their front office personnel are subject to discipline here as well, because remember, they're repeat offenders. They used the Apple Watch in 17. I'm assuming they'll find something out of the 18 season. So that's the next one. And I don't even know if it's going to be the last one, because, you know, who knows what else surfaces here. The commissioner says if you've got information about teams stealing signs after September 15th of 2017, bring it to me, and I'll investigate it. So it's quite possible there's others later, but this is what we have now.
And then, of course, the managers who take these jobs, what a huge role for them. Not only to obviously try and put pieces back together for franchises that have been, if you will, blown up by all of this, but also for the integrity of the game, for fans, for us to believe that these managers that are walking in there, I mean, it's a huge jobs, Tom. What do you think?
That's a great point, Rich, because hiring a manager for these three teams now is bigger than just, you know, how you run a game. It's about integrity and reestablishing that, and that's going to take time, but you better put the right people in place. And you're talking about three really good teams, right? The Mets, the Red Sox, and the Astros are all teams with designs on the postseason. These are not rebuilding programs, so it's win now and restore integrity. I like the fact that Houston had talked with John Gibbons. I think he's been a very underrated manager. He's as straight of a shooter as there is. Players absolutely love him. I think he's great at running bullpens, which is a big part of the game today. I think he'd be a great fit in Houston. I like Eduardo Perez in either New York or Boston. I mean, the Mets obviously liked him. He's one of the finalists in their discussions. Henley Mullins as well, their bench coach now, I think might figure in there. Red Sox could go Ron Renicky. He's, you know, obviously been there for the last couple of years as their bench coach, and it's more of a seamless transition, but they have a new general manager, and he may want to take his own guy, somebody that he's familiar with. But, yeah, it's just, again, we're 3 months away or 1 month away from spring training, and three teams don't know who the manager is, and it's a very important hire in each and every case.
Tom, you're the man. Love our chats always. Really appreciate it. I know you're really busy amidst all this, so thanks for the call.
My pleasure, Rich. Thank you.
You bet. Right back at you. Tom Verducci.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.